On last night's episode of SmackDown, which I'll be reviewing in about 5 minutes later on in this video, WWE decided to really go in hard on the Jeff Hardy is a junkie storyline by having him accept a match with Sheamus at the horror show at Extreme Rules at AOL.com. The match he accepted was a bar fight, because you know, Jeff was an alcoholic, so like it's really funny because he used to drink lots of alcohol, and it's really funny to point out and take advantage of his real life addiction issues. Unsurprisingly, this bar fight announcement was met with plenty of backlash on social media, with fans slamming WWE for its insistence on using real-life issues in storylines, especially with Jeff Hardy. WWE doubles down on the Jeff Hardy is a drunk junkie storyline. He'll soon face Sheamus in a bar fight, likely at Extreme Rules. Where do we send an alcoholic? To a bar. A week after putting champagne under his nose, I hate this angle. I think it is very poor taste. Alcoholism is very serious. Very disappointed in the WWE right now. They're legit exploiting Jeff Hardy's drinking problems. Not cool. Who's in charge of this shit crap program? That is a good question. Who is in charge of this shit crap program? This is not the first time fans have been upset over an angle with Jeff Hardy, as the first part of this feud, where Hardy was framed for a drunken hit and run on Elias, was also received very negatively. But the feud has now progressed from someone trying to exploit Hardy's addiction to frame him for a crime to actually just trying to make him drink again for absolutely no reason. And now WWE is putting someone whose addiction is very, very real, by the way, into a bar for their wrestling match. It's not hard to see why fans are upset. But while fans are angry at WWE, it seems a WWE star is also angry at the fans. And it's not Seth Rollins for once. Cesaro is currently teaming with Shinsuke Nakamura on SmackDown, because when in doubt, stop pushing Cesaro as a single star and align him with a foreign heel. The Swiss was recently interviewed by Comic Book, and he mentioned that he is annoyed with the lack of patience modern wrestling fans have, explaining that not everything can be instant satisfaction. I feel like a lot of fans, they always want to see something new right now, and if that doesn't happen right away, then they're going to lose faith and go to something else that they just want changed. It's just there's no patience. I sound so old right now, but you know when you say that you used to work for a company for 10, 20 years, and then you get that old watch? There's no such thing as that anymore. There's no pride in just working hard and working well and delivering every single day. What do you think? Are fans too impatient these days? Let me know in the comments, because I'll be replying to people from out of Cesaro's uppercut. God, they're so beautiful. Something that might not be quite so beautiful though is WWE's reported plan to use CGI in a match at Extreme Rules. Cinematic matches have become relatively commonplace in WWE since fans were unable to attend shows due to lockdown. We've seen the Firefly Funhouse match between Bray Wyatt and John Cena, the Boneyard match between Undertaker and AJ Styles, Gargano and Ciampa's one final beat match, and of course the men's and women's Money in the Bank Climb the Corporate Ladder match to determine the World Cup for the best wrestler in the world. We're also going to be getting Bray Wyatt versus Braun Strowman in a swamp match at the horror show at Extreme Rules at AOL.com next weekend, but that won't be the only match featuring some cinematic pizzazz. The Wrestling Observer is reporting that the Eye for an Eye match between Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio will include CGI in the finish, which will involve someone having their eye ripped out of its socket. According to WWE.com, that is the actual way this match finishes, with someone ripping out someone else's eye. No pinfalls, no submissions. It literally has to end with something that could kill someone. Wrestling! You'd have thought they could just ask horror special effects legend Tom Savini to make a fake eyeball, considering their close working relationship and the work he's done recently on things such as The Fiend's mask and his lantern. But it appears WWE want to go full modern cinema. I just hope to God that it's better than the AR they use during pay-per-view entrances, because it's bad. It's really bad. Look at it. It sucks. And now it's time for a review of last night's SmackDown in about 5 minutes. The show kicked off with Miz and Morrison on Miz TV with special guest Jeff Hardy. This was just another way for someone to talk to Hardy about drinking alcohol and fighting his demons, and him to say he was going to be a shining beacon of hope for everyone suffering from addiction. So Basically everything we've already heard before. Miz suggests that Hardy should fight Sheamus in a bar fight, which seems to be the official match for Extreme Rules. Hardy then challenges one of them to a fight for mouthing off, which Miz accepts after an ad break. The match itself is fine, nothing special really. The finish comes when it looks like Hardy is going for a swanton. Sheamus appears on the Titantron via Zoom, drinking a Guinness, and doesn't really say anything. He just says how great his drink is, and that's enough for Hardy to get down from the top rope and Miz to attempt a roll-up, which Hardy counters into his own for the win. Nothing has really progressed in this feud, it's just Sheamus telling Hardy to drink and Hardy saying no and then beating someone up. That's it. After that, we got the pre-advertised tag team match of Sasha Banks and Bayley versus Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, which got off to a hot start when Cross and Bliss attacked Bayley and Banks during their entrance. But after that, the match was once again fine. There wasn't anything particularly special about this match, but the finish worked quite well, where it looked like Cross had Bayley pinned off her neckbreaker, Banks broke it up, so Cross dropkicked Banks through the ropes, only for Bayley to roll her up and pin her off the dropkick while using the ropes on the pin. It looked really fluid and just worked well, but that's 2 matches and 2 roll-up victories. Thank you for being awesome pledge hammers on Patreon, the British Bulldog Philip Boy J. Smith Jr. and Ryan Disco Stewart. After that, it was Braun Strowman versus Bray Wyatt from Money in the Bank in full. Running a little short on content this week, aren't we? And then was the worst segment I've seen in quite some time. Lacey Evans, Dana Brooke, Tamina, and Naomi all took part in a karaoke showdown. Now, when this was first advertised on the show, I thought it was a setup for an angle that would interrupt the showdown, and the commentary team would be like, oh, I can't believe this person interrupted the karaoke. It would have been great, or whatever they'd say, oh my, or, you know, whatever. But no, it was just karaoke. It was hosted by Jey Uso because he's got nothing else on. They all sang their favorite WWE theme song, and all of them were bad. What is happening? Why are they doing karaoke? What does this have to do with wrestling? I haven't cringed at a wrestling segment that hard in years. And I mean years. It went on for so long, and it was awful. The crowd cheered the hardest for Naomi, who sang Dusty Rhodes' theme song, so she won. And Lacey Evans didn't like that, so she attacked Naomi from behind like the true American hero she is. And then they had a match, not in their wrestling gear, and it went about 2 minutes before Dana and Tamina got involved and everyone started brawling. What the fuck? Raw has been doing such an amazing job with their women's division without their biggest stars, making a really diverse and interesting division with Asuka, Kairi Sane, utilizing Banks and Bayley in interesting feuds, and even on SmackDown, the Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross stuff is pretty good. This though, this is actively damaging your women's division. If this was a men's segment, it would just be written off as a bad segment that was a waste of time. But because this was a women's segment, it was a bad segment that was a waste of time that actively damages your entire women's division. It reeks of old school WWF women's and divas competitions. If we're gonna take a positive out of this, at least it wasn't a bikini contest, but my god, do you have to denigrate the women on your roster? This was fucking awful, and I hated every second of it. Right, I'm calm. In more positive news, we're getting Matt Riddle versus AJ Styles next week for the Intercontinental Championship, so that's nice. Apart from when King Corbin gets involved and costs Riddle the match, because that's definitely gonna happen. God, I hate wrestling. The main event of the show can definitely bring us up though. It's the New Day versus Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships after each team had a backstage promo earlier in the night, which were pretty good. And for starters, it's really nice to see Shinsuke and Cesaro main event a SmackDown. The match was good. It was fine. There was some nice interplay leading to a hot tag from Big E that was fun to watch, some nice uppercuts from Cesaro, I like those, but really I'm stalling because I hated the finish. They all started brawling and the ref threw out the match in a double DQ. They had a really cool spot afterwards where Big E was lying on a table, Cesaro climbed the turnbuckle, Shinsuke suplexed Kingston up to Cesaro who grabbed him in a powerbomb position, and then powerbombed Kingston through Big E through the table. That was really cool. I like that a lot, and it's no doubt going to build to a tables match between the two teams at Extreme Rules, and you know what? I'm all for that. I think that could steal the show. I think it's going to be great. But why can no one win properly on this show? There were 4 matches on this show. I'm not including Braun versus Bray. 4 matches, and not one of them finished with a finisher and a pin. 2 of them were roll-ups, and 2 of them were DQ finishes. Why are they so scared for people to win matches? Oh no, you might actually build some stars. I hated this show. The stuff that was good was fine, but it didn't progress any stories. They're just hitting the same notes over and over again, and the stuff that was bad was awful, actively damaging stuff. That karaoke segment, I don't think I'm going to be able to erase that from my mind for a long time, and I hate that. I haven't done this, I think, ever, but I'm rating this SmackDown a 1 out of 5 show. It was that bad. Now, lay it on me, comments. Tell me how wrong I am. I stand by this. It was bad. Really, really bad. AJ Styles has publicly called out Paul Heyman. Press the video to the right to find out more, and press the video below that to be taken to Louis Dangle's interview with Denise Salcedo, who you may have seen on the WrestleTalk podcast or on Quizzlemania. It's a great interview. Give it a watch. You can follow me on Twitter at Pete Quinnell and us at WrestleTalk_TV. And that was wrestling.